All right, welcome back. Gosh, this feels good to be back. Man, it feels good to be back. All right. How is everyone doing today? How are we doing? Um wow. What a wild last couple of weeks, huh? Um Everything just got really busy. Kids got off of school. Snowstorms screwed up when I was getting home every day. And here we are now, New Year 2026, and we got plenty of things to talk about. We're not going to recap many of the games from yesterday. We'll go over some of the big ones from the weekend, but today we are really going to dial in on the head coaching search that some of these teams have decided they want to undergo. I have so far been correct. I was 3 out of 4 on my big predictions. I'm 4 out of 5 on my ultimate predictions, which Friday night I said Raheem Morris. The more and more I was thinking about it, never had a shot to be able to keep his job because that team is too talented. The defense was way too improved. And it just, yeah, no. No. So I got Carroll right. I got Gannon right. I got Raheem Morris right. Stefanski shocks me a little bit. Stefanski kind of shocks me, and I think he gets hired pretty quick. So the reason I think he's going to get hired is because the same mantra that the Jets have is a lot like what the Browns have. It's the Browns. You made the playoffs starting 5 different quarterbacks. You never really had a solid quarterback position because of your owner. Because your owner was stupid. I mean, absolutely stupid. And now your owner wants Shedeur Sanders to be the face of the franchise. And I know Stefanski's like, he can't be. No. It's not what he can do. He's not able to do that. And you guys know I fully agree. But I do like the idea of a defensive coach taking over Cleveland. And here's why. I think if the general manager, Andrew Berry, who I fully believe deserved to keep his job 100%, I believe if he can strengthen the offensive line, get a receiver, then get a halfway decent offensive coordinator, I feel like it is very possible for the Browns to be competitive enough in their division. Now, what that fully looks like, I'm not sure. But I was going through all these different things here. So, the Bengals keep Taylor. That was a big one for me, and the reason that's big is because Joe Burrow doesn't like him. Joe Burrow doesn't like him at all. What if Joe Burrow requests a trade? I was going through this with Big J Friday night as we were working and we were going through stuff, and I was like, if he requests a trade, Cincinnati just absolutely botched the best chance they ever have of being a legitimate franchise for a certain amount of time. I understand the injuries. Burrow gets hit a lot. And because of that, it would not surprise me if he said, I'm out. I don't want to be here. I don't like Coach Taylor. It's not worth it. The Bengals are always reluctant to make moves. They showed that with Marvin Lewis. They wait forever. Being mediocre is okay there. And being mediocre is evidently okay in Indianapolis as well, since Carly decided she was going to keep Shane and Ballard. Why, I don't know, except for this. This team does not have a first-round pick for the next 2 years. And getting somebody that wants to come and sleep in that bed that idiot Ballard and stupid Steichen made is going to be really hard. Because you guys heard it after that Sauce trade. I didn't like it. The Cowboys made a trade for a defensive tackle that completely changed around their run defense. Quinnen Williams next to Kenny Clark has been an outstanding pairing. It changed their defense. Sauce Gardner got injured. You can't assume injuries. But you traded 2 first-round picks away for the guy. The Cowboys traded a second and a first. If Aaron Glenn and the Jets can get these next 2 years correct, they will be in competition. They have 5 first-round picks in the next 2 years. And if they're smart this year, they'll try to get a trade partner. And that trade partner may be down around where the Colts are. Instead of having a top 3 pick, they may trade back to the mid-teens and get another first-round pick next year. I wouldn't have a problem with that. If I'm a Jets fan, I want all the picks I can. I don't think Aaron Glenn is the problem. I don't know what's going to happen with Justin Fields. But I would stockpile picks for 2027. Why? Because that draft right now for quarterbacks looks absolutely fantastic. Again, the only one for this year is Mendoza. I don't see Ty Simpson as an NFL quarterback. I watched him against Indiana. He's got Alabama talent around him. He absolutely flunked every test there was. And that's before D'Angelo Pons cracked his rib, forcing a fumble. It's not an NFL talent. He reminds me a lot of Quinn Ewers. Who did decent for the Dolphins, but nobody's saying he's the future starter there in Miami. So, the Colts didn't make a change. Bengals didn't make a change. But we've got the Falcons, the Raiders, the Cardinals, the Browns, and the Giants and Titans that made the changes during the season. So we currently have 6 head coaching positions open. So here we go. So what are my predictions for this coaching carousel? What could I see happening? Number 1, let's go to the fired coaches. Pete Carroll, the only thing I think that will happen is maybe he will go back to college football. That is my only thought there. I could see Pete going back to college football, being a general manager in college football, potentially. Could he go back to USC as the general manager to help Lincoln Riley? I believe that would be a good position for him now. Somebody who's young in spirit can still be very fiery and vibrant with the kids, but has a role that fits what he can do now. I think that may be where he goes. Stefanski, I fully think will get a head coaching job. I'll tell you which one here in a second. I fully see that job as a clear potential for him to be able to have. Jonathan Gannon will be hired as a defensive coordinator very, very quickly. Very quickly. By any new coach that is hired, he could be the defensive coordinator of the Raiders, the Browns, the Falcons. He'd be good. He could be the defensive coordinator of the Giants or the Titans. Like, there is absolute potential with Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon is an outstanding defensive coordinator. I have no issues with his defensive play calls, and I don't really think he's a horrible head coach. I don't. His teams never gave up. His teams had a lot of fight. And I like that in my coach. I like that in my football teams. I like the fight. They're outclassed. Injuries take a huge toll. Took a big toll on the Cardinals this year. Took a toll on the Ravens, which is why they ended up struggling the way they did. So, Jonathan Gannon will get a defensive coordinator job quickly. Brian Daboll, I believe, will get an offensive coordinator job very quickly since the college thing didn't pan out. I think Brian Daboll gets a very, very... If Brian Flores gets hired by any of these teams, Brian Daboll would be a great offensive coordinator for him to bring in. Brian Flores and Brian Daboll, I believe, would work very well together. Dan Campbell may already be thinking about bringing in Brian Daboll as his offensive coordinator this coming season. And I think it'd be a great move. I fully believe it'd be a fantastic move. So there's that. Brian Callahan, I think, may get an offensive coordinator job. I'm not sure. It depends on who gets hired where. I didn't love him as an offensive coordinator. I never understood why. Well, I did. I told you guys why Tennessee hired him. They wanted a puppet, which is why I really feel for the Titan team right now, because ownership doesn't want a Mike Vrabel. They don't want that. So I don't know who they're going to hire. We'll have to find out. But to me, Callahan is that low-hanging. It's like Brian Schottenheimer hiring Matt Eberflus as defensive coordinator. Like, he's there, but it's really just kind of what's left. It's a B-, C+. You're not changing anything by that hire. Now, Stefanski, I think, will get hired again. Stefanski, I think, will get hired very quickly. Raheem Morris, I actually question. I question whether or not Raheem Morris will get hired. I know he'll probably be brought in as a defensive coordinator somewhere. But let's just look at it. Tampa Bay, Atlanta. He was decent as the Rams defensive coordinator, but I don't know. Raheem Morris, part of me thinks he should go to college. Part of me thinks he should go have a little bit of fun for a couple years. And these college coaches are making millions of dollars now. Don't tell me you can't make money down there now, because you can. And you can make money almost anywhere. Big 12, ACC. The Pac-12 is reforming now. You got a lot of teams that have been mid-pack for a long time now all coming together to make the Pac-12. I think the Pac-12 is actually going to be really exciting. And the way it's going to play out with the different rivalries, I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So it's going to be interesting to see where these people go. But I will say for Stefanski, I think Stefanski fits two of these places. Now, I am fully under the impression that Fernando Mendoza is coming out in this NFL draft. Fully under that impression. Why? Because Josh Hoover signed with IU yesterday. Yesterday was a huge day for IU in the transfer portal, and Hoover joining IU signaled that they know Mendoza is going forward. Hoover's not going to come to IU if Mendoza's still sitting there. He's not going to come to be a backup. So Mendoza's going to the Raiders. Period. Mendoza is going to the Raiders. Kevin Stefanski, being the head coach of the Raiders, is a great move. Great move. Ashton Jeanty, Brock Bowers, Trey Tucker, Jack Betch, and Fernando Mendoza. Get an offensive line, Mr. Spytech, and the Raiders can compete. The Chiefs are going to be down. Everybody's saying, oh, it's only 9 months for the ACL stuff. These guys can be back by training camp. Baloney. Not in the contact sport of football that we have. We know better. Aaron Rodgers was injured week number 1 of the season and barely made it back for training camp. Week number 1. Daniel Jones and Mahomes are weeks 10 and 11. They're not coming back to a contact sport to get their legs hit at the beginning of July. It's not happening. You can say, well, they're making good progress. Do you want to risk another ACL tear immediately? I mean, look at Penix. Penix is going to be out for probably the year. And Atlanta is not stupid enough to think that it won't be the case. They're not naive believing that, oh, he'll be back. The new coach for Atlanta is going to know exactly what he's coming into. A team that doesn't have Michael Penix. You've got Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and a decent offensive line. And if you decide to keep Jeff Albrook as your defensive coordinator, you've got a defense that vastly improved through the year. You've got 2 first-round picks from this past year, both of which made impact plays through the season. You've got Xavier Watts on the back end from Notre Dame. It's absolutely beautiful. The team is stacked. It's stacked in a new coach's favor. You don't have a first-round pick this year. All right, fine, whatever. But you got it the next year. You can work in your system this year, and you're ready to go in 2027. Right now, Stefanski to either the Raiders or even the Falcons, because of what he's done with quarterbacks, I think is a good move. I think would be a great move. Now, where does Brian Flores go? Where does Brian Flores go? We know he's intense. We know that. He's intense. So where do we put him? Where do we put him? Well, it's really simple. I think there's two teams that Brian Flores could actually help based on their current makeup. I believe right now, if he gets an offensive coordinator, I believe he could really, really help the Tennessee Titans. Because in that division, right now, you have got Liam Cohen, offense. Shane Steichen, unfortunately, offense. DeMeco Ryans the best defensive head coach in the NFL. Hands down. There's not even a... Mike McDonald's good. DeMeco Ryans is better. Mike McDonald has more talent on his team, and the two of them could meet in the Super Bowl. Spoiler, I'm taking the Texans all damn day against the Steelers. Ravens have no pass rush. The Texans, I don't think they ever don't have a pass rush. It doesn't matter whether Metcalf is coming back or not. The Texans are ready to play. DeMeco Ryans is the best defensive head coach in the NFL. Now, here's the other thing. And this is something to really watch. If the Jaguars beat the Bills week number 1, this weekend on Sunday at 1 o'clock, if the Jaguars beat the Bills, Sean McDermott, I believe, will be fired. And should be. Because even though the general consensus is that the team has not been built great and the talent isn't outstanding, Sean McDermott's side of the football is consistently an Achilles heel. Big Achilles heel. And if I'm Mike McCarthy, I know the Giants are going to be interviewing McCarthy, Chris Shula, and Antonio Pierce. The Antonio Pierce one, I'm wondering what Mara's doing. I'll be honest. But I will give it a shot. It's going to depend on who he brings in as coordinators. If he's just going to be the head coach and not the coordinator, I can get on board with it, depending on who he's able to bring in. But if I'm Mike McCarthy, Bills open a new stadium, had the last game in Highmark yesterday, jerseys, everything sending out the right way. I would hire Mike McCarthy for the Buffalo Bills in a heartbeat. I really would. Offensive coach with Josh Allen. You would continue to win. He's not better than Vrabel as a head coach. I will give you that. But it's the right side of the football for what they need. McCarthy has played in tough divisions. McCarthy has coached in cold weather. Mike McCarthy would be able to work in Buffalo. New York is going after him first. I don't hate that hit. I mean, he has Jackson Dart, Scatterboo coming back, Neighbors coming back, Tyrone Tracy, Theo Johnson's going to be out. Evidently, Joe Shane yelled at him for going to the Knicks game, and he figured out how to be able to replace him. So, looks like Theo Johnson's going to get traded. But because of all that, Mike McCarthy isn't bad. Brian Flores isn't bad. Chris Shula. I don't think Shula's going to be a defensive coach. I think what Shula's going to do is he's going to be a lot like McDonald. I believe he's going to come in. He's going to have a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator. I believe he will be the head coach. He knows what winning looks like. I believe he'll know what to do. A lot of people have said the talent pool is lower this time. I disagree. I think this gives a shot for the people that really know what's going on to come in. I think you're going to find the diamonds in the rough. DeMeco Ryans, we questioned the hire originally for the Texans. Are we questioning it now? Robert Saleh had a top 3 defense as head coach of the New York Jets. Let's see. Falcons have offensive pieces. Raiders are going to have offensive pieces. Cardinals, probably not. Titans are really young on offense. Robert Saleh gets an offensive coordinator. He could go to any one of those. Robert Saleh to the Falcons is an interesting one for me because that young defense plays into Robert Saleh's hands. And let's be real, that division isn't great. The Saints are still way over. So I was looking at the cap space. Yeah. This is what's great. So the Saints right now are already $15 million over the cap. I'm sure there's contracts that they're going to be able to fudge and change everything. But the Saints have $65 million in dead cap. 65. The Jets have $75 million in dead cap, but they also have $75 million in cap space because now they're not paying anybody. The way this is all playing out, and we're going to go through a lot of this later, the Saints aren't going to be that great. The Buccaneers, listen, the offensive coordinator, the rhythm on offense wasn't the same. That simple. The Panthers are still the Panthers. They're going to keep running with Bryce Young. 10-7 to me is their ceiling. But they could also go 5-12. It's that simple. The Falcons, for Robert Saleh, doesn't bother me at all. If he gets an offensive coordinator that understands what they need to do. If you can get a veteran and not Kirk Cousins. You've got Bijan Robinson. You could get Jacoby Brissett. Shoot. There are teams that really should. I really hope there's a couple teams that try to get Jake Browning from the Bengals. Because I think it's a coaching thing. I don't trust Zach Taylor. Are you kidding me? I don't trust him with any development of quarterbacks. Joe Burrow hates the guy. Joe Burrow has no respect for Zach Taylor. Why in the world do we think that he's able to develop a young quarterback? It ain't happening. Jake Browning. If Stefanski were to take the Falcon job, I'd trade for Jake Browning immediately. Big arm, not afraid. You've already got a great running game. If I'm Stefanski, I'm keeping Jeff Albrook. It would work. I think the Raiders are the best place for Stefanski, though. I really do. He is a head coach. Do not make any mistakes about it. He is a head coach. Jonathan Gannon could go into anywhere and be a defensive coordinator. Shoot, Gannon could go with Stefanski to be the defensive coordinator of the Raiders. If McCarthy gets hired as the Giants head coach, Gannon would be a great defensive coordinator for Mike McCarthy. I really like Brian Daboll going to Detroit. I really do. I like Brian Daboll going to Detroit as the offensive coordinator. Raheem Morris as a defensive coordinator is going to be one of the last ones. He may end up the Titan defensive coordinator. I don't know. And it's only because I don't trust the Titan leadership. I don't trust the ownership at all. Zero. Now, we are still waiting on a couple of teams. Mike McDaniel in Miami. I don't know if Ross is going to want to pay. I mean, give him an extension 2 years ago. It's been back-to-back years. It's been awful. Absolutely awful. I don't know what they're going to do with Tua. So we're still waiting on Mike McDaniel. We're still waiting, from what I have been reading and been told, we're still waiting on John Harbaugh. Listen, I still think Tomlin needs to be traded. If the Steelers get blown out by the Texans and embarrassed on their home field on Monday Night Football, Tomlin can still be traded away. They can still say, we're done. I don't think they're going to fire him either. I don't think it's a firing situation. They're going to trade him. Get him a year earlier than you guys want. I could see that happening if they get embarrassed. If John Harbaugh gets fired, John Harbaugh will be rehired very, very quickly. And he should. It's not... Stefanski getting fired is not a mark against Stefanski, in my opinion. Andy Reid got fired. Mike McCarthy's been fired. It's not a mark against you. It's business. And when you're a good coach, other people know realities. Robert Saleh is going to get another head coaching job. Why? Because people saw that he had a top 3 defense with the New York Jets and the mess that is over there. The garbage fire that Woody Johnson has built and decided to be the leader of. Who wants to take over a giant team that's got John Mara's inability to be realistic anymore? He's keeping Joe Schoen. That's all you need to know. He fires Brian Daboll. He's going to keep Joe Schoen. Joe Schoen is the guy that didn't listen to his kids. His kids knew Jayden Daniels was the future. Regardless of injuries. Regardless of injuries. You're going to have Joe Schoen be your GM with his new coach. I have a lot of respect for what Arthur Blank did. He's cleaned house. Morris is out. Fontenot out. They've both been there. Morris, not as long, but he way, way underperformed. Fontenot, the team is decent. The team is decent. But the whole Cousins situation, I think, is his downfall. Honestly. I respect what he's doing. Arizona Cardinals gave Gannon 3 years. He's 15-36. He unfortunately had Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's on the block. Who knows where he's going to get traded to? A lot of teams that need quarterbacks now because none are coming out. Dante Moore may come out. I don't know what Ty Simpson's going to do yet. He hasn't said anything. Like I said, I wouldn't draft him high anyway. Maybe third or fourth round. But this entire coaching carousel, I think you're going to see some unusual names getting interviewed. You're going to see some clear paths where owners want to go. You hire Brian Flores, you want to get tougher. Mike McDaniel hasn't had that much more success than Brian Flores. Tua is a problem by himself. It wasn't just Brian Flores. Brian Flores is being shown he wasn't wrong. He was not wrong. Mike McDaniel gets to the playoffs, doesn't let Tua throw the football against the Chiefs. It's an embarrassment. And then you just keep missing the playoffs and your team is really an embarrassment. It's that simple. Raheem Morris has now had 2 chances. He's failed both places. He's a defensive coordinator, not a head coach. I believe he could be a college head coach, though, if he chooses to go and be that. Now, what's funny is, and what I think would be great, is a coordinator position that is potentially being talked about. Charlie Weis Jr. is being talked about in the NFL circles as being offered jobs potentially here in the NFL, which would take Lane Kiffin's offensive coordinator away from him, which is awesome, which is absolutely awesome. And you know what? Let's pivot to that. The college football playoff. College football playoff. I have been an Indiana Hoosier fan since Black and Red, since Antoine Randall L. Through Bill Lynch, through DiNardo, Terry Hepner, Tom Allen. I have been an Indiana Hoosier fan since I started watching football in 1998 consistently. Here is the reality. I love what is happening. Absolutely love what is happening. My Indiana Hoosiers are 14-0. They just throttled Alabama in the Rose Bowl. Ohio State loses to a Miami team that beat them up the way the Hoosiers did. And they are the clear-cut #1 team in college football. Georgia lost. Texas Tech lost. IU stands atop alone. But it is more impressive to me that the Ole Miss Running Rebels, those players threw everything, came out and came back and beat the Georgia Bulldogs to move on in the college football playoff. Those kids need to be given a bunch of credit for what they did. The fight, the heart, the grit, and determination by Ole Miss was a beautiful thing on New Year's Day. It was amazing to watch. Amazing to watch. I loved every minute of it. They never gave up. And they showed that bum of a coach that left them for more money and more prestige. You already had a team, coach, and you bailed on us. And you already know my rant that I gave on Mr. Kiffin, so we're not going to go through that again. But if the NFL takes Charlie Weis Jr. away, good. Portal week, these players are fighting for position, fighting for the ability to go to a national championship, and because Kiffin is hiring away all these people, what's great is the Ole Miss players haven't entered the portal. He's not bringing Ole Miss players with him. Now, he still could after the game this week if they don't make the national championship. But they're not going to declare for a transfer where they could play for a national championship. Do I think Miami has the better defense? Yes. Do I think Miami has the better offense? Heck no. I think Ole Miss's offense is better than Miami's defense. Do I think Miami's offense can beat Ole Miss's defense? I don't know. I don't trust Carson Beck. Carson Beck has struggled multiple times, and Miami knew Carson Beck was not going to beat Ohio State. Their defense had to do it. Defense had to do it. I tell you what, congratulations, Ole Miss, to the players, to Pete Gold. Congratulations. Heck of a win. You are in the Final Four in the college football playoff. Congratulations. You guys deserve every bit of this. Keep that chip on your shoulder. The thing that most teams never want to play is a team that's got a chip on their shoulder. Why? Because that chip makes you play hard. Very hard. And it should. It definitely should. So, IU's there. Oregon's there after blanking Texas Tech. Miami, Ole Miss. I love it. Football is good. We got the playoffs. We got the coaching carousel. We're waiting to see. We got 6 teams right now. We already have 6 teams. Are there going to be any more? Are there going to be any more? Basically, 1/5 of the league is going to have a new head coach. And this is what we expect. This is exactly what we expect. Don't be surprised if you hear Andy Reid's going to retire. Don't be surprised. I don't fully think he will, but I think his wife may talk to him now that the season's over. And I think she may go, come on. It's time to come home. Travis Kelce retiring, or, he's like, we'll see. I mean, come on. These guys that want to drag it out, stop lying. Stop lying. Travis Kelce is not what he used to be. His body has taken a toll. He's won Super Bowls. He's given everything he can for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he deserves all the credit in the world for what he's done. But, I mean, it comes a time. I was reading a story this morning. The Colts signed Charvarius Ward last year. That concussion, that freak accident that happened really screwed him up. Really screwed him up. And he's now molding retirement because of the concussions. And he is 100% correct. Don't mess with it. Just don't do it. Do not mess with your brain. Don't mess with what your family's going to be left with. Football's great. I know football players just have a different wiring about them. They want to play it. They got to play it. You retire at 35. Today's my birthday. I am now 36 years old. And I am thinking now, if I didn't have the thinking ability, the comprehension ability, the wherewithal that I have right now at 36 to be able to have for the rest of my life. What type of husband, father, friend would I end up being? See, I'm 36. If I would have played football, football would have been at this point for 14 years. Let's say I got out of college, 14 years. It'd be a long NFL career, first of all. But second of all, that's 14 years. I could, at very minimum, obviously I want to live as long as I can, but let's say I just double my age. I still have 36 years left with my family. I had 14 with football, 36 left with my family. The family has to matter more. Don't force them to be left with the scraps because you gave your job everything. I have had to learn this in life a lot. Don't leave your family the scraps because of work. We do it whether you're in business, wearing a suit every day, in a union, iron worker, construction, auto. We do this. We give our job every little bit, and our family's left with the scraps. And when it comes to concussions and the brain and your ability to think through things or even listen, or your emotions, the ability to actually be there, don't mess with it. I love the Charvarius Ward signing, and I would actually really prefer for him to retire. You guys know last year I was on Tua forever saying Tua should have retired. The concussions, it's too much. His family begged him to, and he said no. Come on. Family has to matter more. It just has to. So I hope Charvarius Ward retires and that his family has him. Jackson Dart, I'm already thinking about. Jackson Dart's already had one, maybe two. I'm already thinking about him. He gets another one. He gets two more. Yeah, he's young. How much of a life is he going to have if he has 6 or 7 concussions? Listen to Troy Aikman, and this is not a slight. Troy Aikman, I think, has made a very good career as a broadcast color commentary. But listen to Troy Aikman. He repeats himself a lot. Joe Buck is amazing at leading his partner into conversations so that Troy doesn't have to think as hard. Concussions don't go away. The effects are permanent. As football fans, we get all up into, we want him back. It's a big player. It's a big this. They're human beings first. They have families first. Football is secondary. And I have noticed more and more, Troy is being led by Joe a lot more. His brain is not as sharp. I'm not saying he's dumb. The concussions, the amount of them was too much. Steve Young has the same thing. They get stuck. They got to be led into where to go next. It's real. Please don't mess with it. And as football fans, don't be upset if somebody retires because of a concussion. Big J and I were talking about it, and we both agreed. Charvarius should retire. Tua should have retired. Jackson Dart, I'm on the edge already. You've already got those concussions. Don't play around with them. Chris Olave for the Saints has had 3, maybe 4. I know he's had 3. I would have retired. He was out this past week because of a blood clot. Don't mess with it. Don't mess with health. Don't do it. Your family needs you. I know it was a little bit more personal close out to everything, but Big J and I talked about it, and I do have very deep feelings on I want people to be able to be people. And getting older, we all know what's important. And we have different stages in life. Make sure the stage where your family is the most relevant and prevalent, make sure they actually have you for it. Make sure they're not stuck with the scraps. And that's my hope for all of you. It's my hope for all of us. All right, so this week, what do we have? Well, we're going to try this for a while because weather could be around. We'll get back to the 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Sometime through probably spring. But for now, we're going to be 1 to 2 o'clock because it's easier as weather comes in, ice. I can't get back by 9 o'clock in the morning. This is just easier on me, less stress, easier to do. Podcasts will be simpler to be able to complete. And I'm hoping this gets me back to being able to be live every day because I have missed it. Winter break was fantastic, but I'm very thankful that everybody's back at school today. And I got the house to myself. Laundry is all done. Everything else is good. And I'm going to go finish up some of the other little miniature chores before they get home from school. It's been great hanging out with you guys again today. Super fun. We'll have more carousel news tomorrow. We'll go over a couple of games that happened over the weekend and start looking ahead to the playoffs. And we'll get in some other sports. Basketball is heating up. Fantasy basketball, believe it or not, fantasy basketball is a 20-week season. We're already in week 12. There's only 8 weeks left in the fantasy basketball season, which means there's not that many weeks left. We're in the new year. Guys, we're only 4 months away from the end of the season in the NBA. So time to start looking at what the season may look like for different teams outside of the Indiana Pacers because I don't want to look at that. It's too sad. It makes me very sad. Frustrated, but makes me very sad. All right, guys. As always, make it the best day you can. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Make sure to like, subscribe. Thanks for hanging out. Have an absolutely fantastic day. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, for Sports Talk with Hawk, I'm Hawk, and I'm out. Have a great day.